Hey everyone, Once Bitten here with Game 3 of the Bretonnia campaign 2013, my Bretonians versus a High Elf army. Now this opponent I'm going against, I play him from time to time, but he is a top table opponent. I'd say he is almost always in the top 2 or 3 positions every tournament that I've seen him at. So really top-notch opponent, a great guy, always makes for a good game. This is his High Elf army that he's put together for the Southern Assault Tournament, which does use Swedish comp, and I think he said that he scored, I believe, a 12 on that comp system. So it is not maxed out according to the normal power builds for High Elves, but certainly a competitive build anyway. So I decided for the first time to actually go for 3 virtues. I think that's just the smarter way to go anyway, as long as it doesn't affect your list too much. So for this one, I showed up to the game with 2 different lists, and this one has a virtue of the joust, so I needed my opponent to have a cavalry unit, and he does have one, so that's the reason I went with this list. So it's got heroism, stoicism, and the joust. Heroism gives me heroic killing blow. Stoicism allows you to reroll break tests. I put it on my battle standard bearer, so it doesn't do anything at all this game. And virtue of the joust makes a character, a little bit better in the charge, but really, not a big deal. I would never normally take it. So on the far right corner, he's got a small unit of 10 Sisters of Averlorn. It's got 3 units of 10 Bowmen, a Frostheart Phoenix, and then in front of that, he's got his Phoenix Guard unit. They've got the Razor Standard. He's going to be using unit fillers because they don't rank up very well. But basically, he's got like 22 Phoenix Guard and 3 characters in there. So it gets to the point where it's just almost unkillable. Even though 22 isn't huge, they start off with a 4-up ward. It very easily goes to a 3-up ward. They're fighting in 3 ranks, re-rolling to hit, strength 4, armor piercing. It's just hard to get wounds through on these guys. Now you can see he's got a Shadow Archmage, and then he's got a High Magic Mage, level 2, so that's where he's trying to boost the ward. And then he's got his Battle Standard Bearer with the Reaver Bow Potion of Strength combination. If you look to the left, there's a Bolt Thrower, unit of 6 Silver Helms, 2 more Bolt Throwers, a Skycutter flying bolt thrower thingy. That one he hasn't quite built yet. You just see the base there. 10 more archers behind the building, and then another Skycutter here on the far left. So he's you can see he's a great painter. He's a very conscientious modeler painter. This is just a new army. The only reason why it's not a fully painted army is because it's relatively new to him. So on the left, 3 Peg Knights. I've got my general way out here in the woods, and all I'm really trying to do is keep him alive. I don't know how to hide him otherwise. In hindsight, well, not in hindsight, I could have put him behind my night buses, maybe, to give him a cover save. I say maybe because they're 5 ranks deep, and he may not have fit. But I decided to put him here in the woods because I want him closer to the action so he could actually charge one of the Skycutters. So I figure if he wants to shoot at me, it'll be long range. His Skycutters will have to move, and I'll get a -1 cover for the woods. And I'm hoping between that and just getting lucky I can keep him alive. So this is obviously my all-knight list since I can't have peasants, so I've got 4 knight buses, Grail Knights on the left, and all the rest are Knights of the Realm. Made the Knights of the Realm 14 strong so I could put a character into each. So the one with the Green Knight, second from left, that one has to charge a Silver Helms if I'm going to get this virtue. And that's tough because that really limits my options. I have to get the charge on him. I can't let him get it on me. I've got to be able to charge him and break him on the charge. So if he rolls Insane Courage, I can't get the virtue. This virtue I think I'm going to struggle to get. Battle Stand Bearer is in the middle, and then I put a Prophetess in the one on the right. Really, I had so few units I had to place before my opponent did anything of substance, so I just put everything in the middle to give me as many options as possible. Pegasus Knights were on the farther right. This is where I vanguarded them, just to get him away from all that shooting. He's got 40 shots on the right-hand side that would have taken them down. So I prayed. He went first. He moved up like that, trying to get his archers closer so he can shoot at stuff. You can see he backed up his Silver Helms. I'm thinking, darn it, guys. I've got to get the charge on them. This is the on the left. Instead of targeting my general, he just targets my Peg Knights, and only did 2 wounds. I felt very, very lucky here. He's got 5 Bolt Throwers, 3 regular ones and 2 Skycutters, and then he's got 10 archers in the building. And for him to not absolutely destroy that Pegasus Knight unit is amazing. Just really, really poor rolling there. Bretonnia turn 1, it looks like this. So my Peg Knights are up. The only plan I have for Peg Knights, I'm thinking, is to redirect the Phoenix Guard. I don't know what to do with these 2 Knight buses. I was thinking at the time that I might consider throwing them face first into the Phoenix Guard. But if I do that, I think math says that I do 5 or 6 wounds. 5 or 6 wounds does nothing to the Phoenix Guard, because he's going to do at least that many to me. More than likely he's not going to break, and then I'm toast. And there goes the game. So I don't know. I can't totally avoid him, so I'm just sitting there. If I am going to have to charge him, I want to charge both at the same time. If you look on the left, I move Peg Knights up. What I need to have happen is for Silver Helms to charge the Peg Knights, I'm going to flee, and then I need him to fail a charge somewhere else so that my Green Knight bus can charge them. If he passes his redirect test and charges something else, then the only hope I have is maybe if he charges the Green Knight unit, I get lucky he breaks from combat, and then I can charge him on my turn. But my options are limited trying to get that stupid virtue accomplished. Anyway, you see I'm hiding my general so that if he shoots at me, at least I'm getting a cover save. And +2 covers, nothing to sneeze at. There's the right. So, Magic Phase. Took Flock of Doom for this very reason. So he lets Flock of Doom go through, and I kill 4 of the 10 Sisters of Everlorn. So it's 2d6, strength 2. So I think doing 4 wounds was very lucky. And what was even better was then he failed his panic test. They ran away from me and ran right off the board. So, yeah. Bretonians are getting off to a fairly lucky start this game. High Elf turn 2. So he charges the Silver Helms to the Peg Knights. I flee. His Sky Cutter on the far left charges him, and I have to flee, and then he fails it, which is awesome because now that Sky Cutter can't shoot at me. His Sky Cutter here in the middle charges my Grail Knights. I'm very happy with that. Silver Helms tried to redirect to the Grail Knights, and I was not excited about that. He passed his redirect, but then he failed the charge. That's great. The bad news is a stupid Frostheart Phoenix comes into the flank of that unit. And all he has to do is hold me up, and it's going to make it really, really difficult to get that virtue. So he's going to have a charge and a flank. I'm going to have 2 banners and 3 ranks. So I'm up by 3 combat res. He only has 4 attacks. So there's a real good chance I'm going to win combat. I need him to break from combat. If he sticks, then there's a virtue I'm not going to get. So close-up of the Fleeing Peg Knights. Close-up of a very nicely painted Frostheart Phoenix. And I'm just holding my breath here. I mean, if the Frost Phoenix can bounce off, it's a perfect situation for me. I get the charge. I'll easily break him on the charge. I'll be right. I'll have a whole Knight bus behind his lines. I can turn to the right and just start mopping up, his archer units. And if he holds me up, then I'm kind of screwed. So the Sky Cutter comes in, does a single wound to my Grail Knights. They do 2 wounds on it, beat it, and this is a conundrum. This is High Elf turn 2, so that means not only I got to move up, and then now it's my turn. I can charge that Sky Cutter right off the table, redirect, pound into his Silver Helms with my Grail Knights. I'll destroy them, and I'll have Grail Knights behind his lines. The problem is, if I do that, I'm virtually guaranteed to not get the virtue. And yeah, so do I go for the game? Do I go for the virtue? So after combat, I win combat. He does 1 wound to me, and I do none to him. So I win combat by a couple, and he sticks. So that just really, really, really bites. So I reform so I can hopefully pop him through combat res next time, and then I can reform again and try to go for Silver Helms. At this point, all I can hope is if I don't charge his Silver Helms with my Grail Knights, that he fails his charge, and then I can get the stupid charge on him. But it is not going to be easy for him to fail that charge. So, awful picture, Bretonnia turn 2. I don't know why it gets fuzzy like that sometimes. I almost wonder if I touch the lens with my finger, because this is on my phone. Anyway, the Peg Knights on the right have been getting beat up. I only have 1 guy left sitting on a wound, so I fly him up to block the Phoenix Guard, because I just really would rather not get in combat with them all game. If you look on the far left, I take the Grail Knights into a Bolt Thrower, because I'm going for broke. I can lose the game as long as I get the damn virtues. So it's killing me to leave his Silver Helms alone, but I'm going for it. So there's the Grail Knights going against a Bolt Thrower. I really like this picture. So when I won combat, the last picture showed me when I initially turned him, but then what I did in my reform is I scooted down to open up a corner so that on this turn my general could see him. I was in his front, so he flew in and then clipped him on that far side. So general has heroic killing blows, so I'm confident I can get the Phoenix dead this time. Well, I guess I have to roll a 6, but I like his odds on it. And here are my 2 units. You know, all I'm trying to do here is keep my options open. If he charges the Phoenix Guard into my my Peg Knight, he's going to slaughter the Peg Knight, and then he can overrun, in which case I can get a flank charge on him, or he can reform, in which case I can double charge him, which I really don't want to do, but at least it would be an option. I'd rather him fail his restrain test and give me a flank charge. I think that'd be really nice of him. So during the magic phase, Irresistible Force, I get Savage Beast to Horosoft, so now my general has 7 attacks with Heroic Killing Blow. And I have the Tress of Isolde, so I'm hitting on 2s, 1 round only, and I use it here because I want to kill that stupid thing. Because of the miscast, I blow up and kill 5 knights and put a wound on my prophetess. So that's not ideal, but whatever. After combat, yeah, this looks weird, but basically I just reformed both units. But and it looks like I kind of scooted my knight unit to the left, but there's such a long unit that if you look where the middle of the unit was, in order to keep it the same, this is how it turns out. So it's virtually impossible for Silverhelms to fail a charge. If he charges my general, which I'm hoping he'll do, I'm going to flee and then just hope that he fails his redirect. The problem is he can charge my BSB's unit on my right, in which case he actually has a decent chance of failing, because I think he needs a 9 or a 10, so certainly not automatic. And if he fails there, I'm golden. If he charges my Green Knight unit, I think I'll ultimately win that because I can countercharge with my general. But I won't have charged him. I don't know. It's not just about winning the game here. It's trying to get these virtues. So not only do you come into the game with a list that is not necessarily ideal for you, but you're playing the game trying to do things other than just win it. And so it gets tough. Grail Knights slaughter a bolt thrower, turn to face the other bolt thrower. It was a tough decision which way to face. I turned this way. Yeah, anyway, I'm too afraid. The bolt throwers I do need to get off the table. Anyway, High Elf turn 3. Yeah, the Silverhelms just charge my Battle Standard Bearer's unit and they make the charge. And he's doing that because he doesn't need to break them. He needs just to hold them up so that the Phoenix Guard can get the Peg Knight out of the way, and then they can zoom in here. So, yeah, a very good plan, I would say. So my Night Bus that needs to charge the cavalry unit is totally out of position. In hindsight, I should have reformed him such that if that happened, I could have charged him in the rear, and I just didn't have the foresight to do that. Very, very frustrated. Very frustrated with myself for that. So there's that. There's the Phoenix Guard coming to mop up the Peg Knight. He shoots, he kills, I don't know, 1 more knight. It's tough for strength 3 shooting to punch through armor. After combat, I actually do a wound. It may have even been a horse that did that wound. I don't know. I forget who won or lost, and it doesn't matter. He sticks, and I am just really in trouble because I don't know how I'm going to shrug him off before the Phoenix Guard comes charging to the front. Now, to get the virtue on my Battle Standard Bearer, I cannot break from combat. So if the Phoenix Guard unit comes in, I've lost that virtue. So, Bretonnia turn 3. Grail Knights charge a bolt thrower. My general and my Green Knight bus both reform to take care of the Silverhelms, and I sacrifice another Knight of the Realm unit for the Phoenix Guard to slow them up. So my thinking here is there's really no reason why the Silverhelm should break. I mean, I have a little bit of combat res there, but he's got high leadership with a reroll. So if he stays, on my next turn, I should be able to crash into him and get the virtue. Before I sacrificed the Knight of the Realm unit, I took my Prophetess out of there, of course. There are them. Thanks for taking 1 for the team. Peg Knights are over here. I don't need a Skycutter charging the rear of my Paladin's unit. So all I can hope for is here he can charge my Peg Knights, I'll flee, and he might choose just to get the easy points of the Peg Knights, and he might redirect. If he fails his redirect, then I'm golden. So that's all I can hope for. Otherwise, there's just nothing I can do. And I included this just because I thought that picture's really cool. Yeah, one of my favorite pictures that I've done so far. So it looks like that. High Elf turn 4. Yeah, Bolt Thrower charges my Peg Knights. They flee. He redirects, passes his test, comes to the rear of my unit. That just sucks. I need him to fluff everything, lose, and break so I can charge the darn Silverhelm unit. Phoenix Guard come in to get easy points on my Knights. The only thing I can hope here is that he only kills a couple, and then if I break, I can just rally later, and that would be awesome. Let's see, after combat, yeah, so I finally am able to reform with the Battle Standard Bearers unit. Before I couldn't because my other Knight unit was in the way. This is the end of his turn. My Knights of the Realm break from the Phoenix Guard. I only had 4 left. The Standard Bearer died. I only have 3 left. I started with 14, so that unit is now on Snake Eyes. So if I get really lucky, they might go slowly towards the edge of the board, and I might save those points, but more than likely, those points are gone. Yeah, the real frustrating thing is if you look on the left, the Sky Cutter came in and did not lose combat. So I've given up. I've almost given up on getting the virtue of the joust. So I just turned that unit to beat the Sky Cutter through combat res. I'm trying to get my Prophetess away from the action as much as possible. On my last turn, the Grail Knights charged the Bolt Thrower 1 and then reformed to face the other Bolt Thrower. I'll get to that in just a second. So I'd reform the Knight unit, charge my General with Heroic Killing Blow in, so I think we should win that easily. I do need to win that because I need to be able to flee a Phoenix Guard charge. I take the Peg Knights that originally had fled from the Sky Cutter. They rallied, I think on my last turn. Anyway, when they rallied, and then they flew up to block the Phoenix Guard. So I think I'm doing a decent job of keeping slowing the Phoenix Guard down, but God, I'm feeding them a lot of points to do it. The Grail Knights needed an 8 to get to the Bolt Thrower, and they failed it. I could have thrown something. That is absolutely huge. There's already 1 wound on the Stone Thrower from Flock of Doom. I Flock of Doomed it twice. The second time didn't do any wounds to it. I needed that thing dead because that thing is a danger to me. It's shooting at my general. And again, the Grail Knights would have been getting those points and then right in his backyard mopping up points for all the bowmen, and they fail it on an 8. Darn you. Darn you. Darn you. After combat, beat this thing through combat res. I could have reformed so that if the Silverhelms broke from combat, I could have charged them and maybe caught them. But I wasn't sure if that would net me the virtue because it says you have to break them from combat. So I said, screw it. I just went after the Sky Cutter. These guys come in and just go to town. This is crazy. He failed so many 2-up armor saves that I killed him down to a man. He had his Standard Bearer left, and when he broke from combat, he just died. Wow. So High Elf turn 5. He charges the Pegasus Knights. I got Curse of Honor here off on the Phoenix Guard. He only lost a few, but at least he lost a few, and he's -1 to hit, which is something. Rallies the Sky Cutter. Bolt Thrower opens up my general, and this is where I realized I didn't protect the general. He only has a 3-up armor save. Normally when I play him, he has a 3-up armor save. I forgot to give him a shield, so he only has a 4-up armor save. And so the Bolt Thrower loves shooting 6 bolts at him at strength 4, and I've only taken 2 wounds. I got really, really, really lucky. I think I rolled a 6 ward save to save his life. So I should be good, though, because the Grail Knights now only need a 6 to charge the Bolt Thrower, and there's nothing else he has that should be able to get my general. After combat, he only had a few attacks on these Peg Knights, and one of them was like 1 or 2 of them was his mages. So I tried to kill the mages. I couldn't get past their ward save. He did surprisingly poorly against these guys. I broke from combat, and he decided to restrain and reform. So luckily that was his turn. So my turn. Yeah, I fly my general as far away as possible from everything. The only thing he has a single Bolt Thrower left that can get him. My Grail Knights charge it. They need a 6, and they fail the damn charge. You need a 6 with Swift Stride, and they failed it. My Peg Knights failed the rally test. I think they needed an 8. It would have been nice to get it. I have one more chance at an 8, or else I lose those points. Oh, so frustrated. I move the Battle Standard Bearer's units so that if the Phoenix Guard charges them, I can flee and have a decent chance of getting away. If I just moved directly away and he charged me, I'd been going towards the table edge, and I was worried about going off the board. And my prophetess is way over here. There's nothing that can touch her. So, yeah, the knights charge a Skycutter. I'm not worried about that. I'll kill that thing. This... so frustrating. So frustrating. Skycutter's dead. I run him off the table. Let's see. I don't know what that's showing necessarily. That was his turn. He charged a Phoenix Guard to my Battle Standard Bearer's unit. They fled. He redirected to my Grail Knights and failed the charge. The Bolt Thrower opens up my general and kills him. I could have thrown my Grail Knights across the room. They failed, needing an 8, and they failed, needed a 6, and it cost me my general. So he shoots at these guys, and I don't know what the odds are, what he should have gotten, but I've got one guy left on 1 wound. They only started with 3, so he's not on Snake Eyes, so he needs to rally on an 8. Now, I haven't counted up the points yet. We didn't do that till after the game, but I know that it's close. But I can tell you in retrospect that the game is really, really close. These guys are 165 points. If he rallies, it's going to be a draw. I'll actually have more points than my opponent if he rallies. And if he doesn't, he goes off the table, then I lose the game by 32 points. I lose it by 132 points, but it's not a draw by 32 points. The Peg Knights don't rally. They run off the table. I lose the GD game. So I did get the Virtue of the Joust because it was just, I couldn't do it. I couldn't get a charge on the stupid cavalry unit. I accomplished the Virtue of Heroism. There's that. Darn you. Virtue of Heroism, I got Heroic Killing Blow, but my general died, and I didn't at least get a draw. I didn't get the Virtue of the Joust because I couldn't charge the Cav unit, and I did get the Virtue of Stoicism. So, I can tell you this game is exactly, precisely why I like the idea for the campaign. This was the most fun game. I mean, it gets you to bring lists that you normally don't bring. I get in a habit of bringing certain kinds of lists. I bring trebuchets, I bring peasants. I like them. I rarely ever bring an all-night unit, and it was real fun playing it. It was fun within the game trying to accomplish things beyond just win the game. It added an extra level of difficulty to it, and I really, really liked it. If the Grail Knights would have made either of those easy charges, if my Peg Knights would have rallied, if those two things would have happened, heck, I would have won the game. And would have got Virtue of Heroism and the Virtue of the Joust. I mean, too many things would have had to happen for me to get that one. But so in terms of the campaign, it's almost a lost cause. I've got 4. I think Anthony now has 3, and Malorian has 9. So it's gonna be, there's only 13. So I think Malorian pretty much has it wrapped up, and that's okay. It is totally okay. But in terms of the campaign, forcing you to bring different kinds of lists and making for fun games, very, very, very happy with it. So anyway, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it.